Welcome back for another helping of oysters, clams, and cockles presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin here with Barrett Dudley. Barrett, say cheese.
Say cheese.
You finally
Cheese.
finished Hijack on Apple TV Plus, no?
Yeah, I did. I finished it last night. We landed the plane, as it were. And
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor that I was doing right there
For the show.
For the show, and yeah, they landed the plane. The plane actually did land. We landed the plane by finishing all of the episodes.
We did.
And I've got some thoughts.
Some feelings?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
takes? Okay, before we dive into Hijack, some reminders for our listeners. If you enjoy our show, we ask that you rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you find us on. Give us 5 stars, write a couple sentences about why you like the show, and help us grow. We appreciate it greatly. Episodes are also available in full video on YouTube at youtube.com/@oystersclamscockles. Just subscribe, watch, comment, and enjoy. And finally, our sponsors are the reason this show exists every week, so supporting our sponsors using our dedicated URLs and codes is the same as supporting us. When we do an ad read, if you think you might be into the product, click on the link in the description below our episode and make sure you use our code WHEN and if you check out. That's how we stay in business. We appreciate all of you for being here and hope you will tell your friends and family about our show as well. Okay, let's talk Hijack on Apple TV Plus starring one Idris Elba.
Yeah.
That you finished last night?
Yeah, last night.
Okay, good, because it'll be fresh for you.
It is fresh for me.
Because I was trying to think of like what exactly happened.
I went back to back, Sunday episode 6, Monday episode 7, and wrapped it all up. When did you finish?
I don't know, at some point, like a week and a half ago.
Oh, you burned through it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
okay.
couldn't. Well, I got nothing else going right now.
I know.
I got nothing else.
It's tough out there. Okay, so one of my big questions leaving the show actually came down to this. Did we need Idris Elba in this role?
No.
Like, I don't think that they ended up using him well enough.
But this is what Apple TV, this seems to be their whole strategy.
The 7 episodes, and I think Idris Elba has under 50 lines in the entire season.
He doesn't have to do much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like he's obviously got like his Idrisness about him. He's got his presence, which he utilizes. But like, I'm not sure this show would have been any different with like some no name that I'd never heard of that just like had like a good kind of strong presence in the air.
I mean,
looked cool, strong presence. Didn't necessarily have to be Idris Elba.
I would argue that without him, the show has no reason to exist, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they could have gotten to this one in the production room or whatever. The executives were like, yeah, we can do this if you get somebody that can draw people as the main character.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair. I kind of wish they had used Idris a little bit more. Now there are let's get on to the next thing. There are rumors about a potential season 2.
Yeah, I don't know how that makes any sense though.
Now, okay. Well, because you're thinking within the box is your problem,
right?
Ross.
I am inside the box.
You're thinking too much inside the box. Obviously, they're not going to put Sam Nelson on another plane that gets hijacked.
I don't know that for a fact.
No, you know that. He's
Okay.
not. We're not running. We're just nobody. That's literally never happened before. They've never been like, you're on a hijacked plane. Oh, guess what? You're on a hijacked plane again. At the very least, in Speed 2, where they couldn't get the actors back, they switched the vehicle.
Sure.
Right?
It wasn't a bus the second time.
It wasn't a bus the second time. It was something else. I don't even remember what.
Nobody does. Might have been a plane.
But they kind of left a lot of loose ends here as far as the organized crime people that were pulling this whole hijack off.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I didn't even mean to say it, to phrasing. I didn't even mean to do that. But the organized crime group that was executing on this hijacking plan to make lots of money with a falling stock price.
I like the first version better, but yeah. Yeah.
There's lots of runway there. And if you want to bring in Sam Nelson, maybe you pair him with Detective David, to go on a little mission of sorts. Like, I don't know. I'd probably tune back in for that.
I mean, they left a lot of room. You're not wrong. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things you just brought up. First of all, at some point in the last few episodes stretch, we finally get our bearings on what exactly is happening here. Why has this plane been hijacked? And it turns out there's these two organized crime bosses in prison.
Yes.
What do they call it? OCG, Organized Crime Group. That's what they refer to it as the rest of the time. They didn't bother to give it a name. It's just the OCG.
It's just the OCG.
These two dudes are in prison. They hijack the plane. They want them to be released, which I'm pretty confident. Didn't you watch Air Force One the other day?
Like 40 minutes of it, yeah.
Okay. Isn't that the plot? They
yes,
want a dude released from prison.
A dude released from prison. But I was very confused about this because I had not watched the first 2 hours of the movie.
Yeah.
They're Russians.
Yeah.
And they want a dude released from Russian prison.
Or Chechnyan prison or something.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they were Chechnyan somewhere over there.
Wherever the guy is getting released from prison, it's not in the U.S.
No.
They're getting a guy released from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's kind of like the Russians and the Americans, like the governments of them are on the same page or something.
Yeah.
Or I completely missed the plot and they're on the same page as the Chechnyans.
Who knows?
But the point is, at the end, everybody overseas in the prison sequence, and then they kill the guy.
Yeah,
they do. They don't have to release him. He's walking out
to the helicopter.
And they just murder him.
Yeah,
because deal's off basically.
Right.
All those people look super Russian.
Yeah. No, and that's the best scene in the whole movie when he's walking out and everyone in the prison is chanting and they're playing the Russian national anthem or something or Chechnyan, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was great, but. My point is, they pretty much just took that plot.
Yes.
They were like, same thing, but OCG. And so when they end up releasing these two guys from prison, which this is where the show got a little bit sillier, more silly than it already was.
Uh-huh.
They let them out. They allow them to drive off. Mm-hmm. Detective David follows them.
Yeah.
After they've very explicitly said, do not follow us.
Yes, psycho move to follow them with 3 unmarked black cars in succession.
50 yards
approximately 50 yards back. Less than that. It's 30 yards back.
Easy to spot in the rearview mirror. They're right there on their ass. So finally the guy stops. He gets out. He walks over to Detective David's car and gives him a phone so that he can call him and tell him, hey, stop following us. Which is another order that he just flat out ignores and continues to follow them, even though people are going to die as a result.
And they are literally watching on a drone as well.
Yes, it's which makes the cars useless. They've got the drone in the sky. What the hell is going on here? Worst cops ever. And then in the end. They I guess, we're obviously doing spoilers here. I don't believe this show can be spoiled. They've got the people on the plane that are the hijackers work for this OCG. But then they've got they're in
Plants.
the OCG because they're threatened, right? Even the people that are in the organized crime group are we have to do this or our families die, basically.
Yes, and and you're getting to another sort of gray area here, but original hijackers, safe to assume that they are involved with the OCG in some way, shape, or form, and are now being leveraged in the same way that the regular people who are being forced into this are also being leveraged,
right? Including Amanda, who's this woman who's just been chilling on the flight the entire time until things go enough awry for them to activate her.
Yeah, she's the failsafe. Yeah.
She gets a text message that says, now.
Yeah.
And she goes and gets a gat. I'm not really sure. Did she have a gun the whole time? Why is everyone on this plane strapped? She rushes the cockpit, murders the pilot on the way up there. And then it turns out she's got some flying ability, and
she's ex-Navy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's gonna crash this sucker,
or maybe not crash it.
Well, I think originally they at least infer that the OCG would most benefit with the worst possible outcome from the plane because they have shorted Kingdom, what is it? Kingdom Airlines stock.
As well as the stock of the insurance company that underwrites them.
Right. So if the further down those stocks go, the more money they make, and they'll go the furthest down if the plane crashes. So then Idris Elba has to go up there and talk Amanda into first letting him into the cockpit at all, and then into safely landing the plane, but also don't they just like kind of crash?
They crash land.
Crash landing the plane.
They glide in.
It's just ridiculous.
They've got no back thrusters, Ross.
Yeah, the plot is insane.
They don't have any back thrusters.
Got to have back thrusters.
Yeah. A lot is happening. I think. Okay, so one of the crazy things that's happening here that we've just kind of churned through. The episode where our failsafe is activated. She's like an asset in Jason Bourne. She gets activated.
Yeah.
And goes into the bathroom and is like bad bitching up, like taking off her earrings and like putting her hair up and like reaching for the Glock in the purse.
Yeah, she's going into Navy mode.
And I'm like,
Navy mode.
Oh shit. This is the ultimate baddie.
Yeah.
She's here to rein everybody in. She's here because they knew that these idiots weren't going to be able to control the plane.
Right. It's out of control.
She walks with so much confidence down the aisle, sharpshoots the fuck right in the dome shot,
Boom,
right to the pilot.
Yeah.
One shot, perfect shot.
Yeah.
And then straight into the cockpit. And then like the next episode opens and it's like, yeah, she's just a mom from the Navy. They've got her kid.
Yeah, it was absurd.
But because I fully was like, oh, this is their Bourne assassin. This is like they flipped it in a way where I was like, okay, wait, maybe they kind of sold it with she's ex-Navy and she knows how to fly planes and she's got the military experience, which is why she can kind of commando up like this.
Right.
But like she was like Rambo at first, and then she was like a sobbing mom. So it was just a very, it was they really turned it on a dime there. So that was a bit whiplashy.
Yeah, it was. If you binged this show, if you watched it like back to back, that had to have hit even worse. Like with no break in between those two episodes, because you go from Rambo mode to mom mode, and you're just like, wait, what? Like she just murdered a guy.
Not that you can't do both, Amanda clearly does. But
yeah, I'm just saying. It was confusing as hell.
It was a little bit confusing because the cliffhanger there definitely left me with like, this is assassin numero uno.
Yeah, that was my impression when I saw the end of that episode where she storms the cockpit was that she was actually like the number one in charge organized crime group person on the plane.
Same.
But it turns out this organized crime group is just so incredibly well run that they can get anybody's family anytime.
Yeah.
And then that's their leverage to get the people on the plane to do what they want them to do.
Yeah.
It was just absurd. Like the country of Great Britain has a massive issue here. That an organized crime group has gained this much control, power, ability to infiltrate, that they can just make anybody do whatever any old time. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, that was a lot to take in for sure. The Amanda storyline on the whole,
which also has like that ties into the OCG ending, which is also insane, where the one main bad guy, the guy that is running the show, like gets too greedy, I guess. They're like, it's supposed to be done now. We gotta go. Like we made our 170 million pounds or whatever. And he's like, nah, I want to see it. Like he basically, it's not supposed to, I don't think that OCG guy number 2, anticipated a crash. They're gonna sell the stock. They're gonna make the money. They're gonna let the plane do whatever. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the end goal was to crash.
It was hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. But the guy is sitting there waiting for it to crash, and he's like, "We need to go," and he's like, "Nah," and so they just kill him.
I thought it was pure impatience. Like he was just like, this guy will not get on the same page with me. I want to go now. Boom, headshot.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was outrageous. And then organized crime guy just gets away, just drives off. He's actually, like, for me it was the other, like I was thinking the dude that refuses to leave now was the guy running the show the whole time.
That's who I was calling.
Yeah,
A.
okay.
Guy
He was organized crime.
Guy B is the one that's like, I'm tired of this shit, and
that's it.
Kills him.
Yeah,
murders him.
and then he just drives off.
Just drives off, and we don't know what happens. We don't know where that guy goes.
They never go back to that at all.
They never go back to that
because the show has to end in a slow motion shot of Sam walking through the aisles of the plane to get off of it after he has succeeded. And, yeah.
So now we're rewinding back to the people that I guess were part of the organized crime group, but were also being strong-armed and forced and leveraged under threat of their own family to be doing this in the first place.
Right.
So, like, why does the dude care at the end?
I don't know. Because he knew it was all over anyway, I guess.
All right.
But that still didn't really hit right. Like, why does he stay on the plane with Sam? And he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, Sam. This is the final showdown."
They're kind of generating empathy for everybody involved in the hijacking a little bit.
Yeah,
even as early as with the brother dying. Right?
Definitely.
You know? And like I don't think they kill anybody. Maybe the guy with the plastic bag over his head. Do they get him?
They killed that one lady up front at the beginning, like first four episodes.
Do any of the hijackers get got? I don't think so.
No, just the one dude who I think they shot him by accident.
They stab him.
Oh, he got stabbed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where they?
Oh, yeah.
He's the only hijacker that dies.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we're not murking the hijackers, and we're kind of like building a little bit of empathy for them because we understand that these two psychopaths down on the ground are like running the show and have all their families under threat as well.
Right.
So much so that the mom of like the kid that dies and the older brother, who's the original hijacker, walks in front of a bus in the middle of the highway.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Their mom kills herself.
The mom kills herself because of all this. And then it's and so like, yeah, they're OC guys, and they've been dicks on the plane. And they do kill the one girl, but like by and large, they're pretty shitty hijackers that clearly don't want to be doing this.
Awful.
Because they can't even hang on to the control of the ship because they're pretty wishy-washy about everything.
Yeah, that's the thing that took me
They
to
don't even have real bullets except for the one guy.
One dude. Only one dude has a real gun, basically. Everybody else is working with blanks. And they never, like, there's so many moments in the show where I'm like, okay, were this a real hijacking, they would just start killing people.
Yes.
Sam would be dead as a doornail.
Way dead. Sam would be dead, way dead.
Everyone...
Episode 2, dead.
Everyone on the plane at one point or another gets up and like gives them shit. And they just keep figuring out ways to not execute anybody. In hindsight, it's clearly because, well, they only have the one gun with bullets in it, and if they start killing people, it's gonna be chaos on board.
Yeah.
They're gonna figure out these other guns don't even have real
true.
bullets. All hell's gonna break loose. But also it was just the worst operation.
Yeah, it was not So all that to say, like, you know, we've already given immunity to Amanda for headshotting the pilot.
Yeah. Then they have to he has to talk her into like, it's going to be fine. Everyone's going to forgive you. It's not on you. Look, we'll even don't they get somebody on the phone to like...
The Homeland Security guy.
To tell her like, you're good.
Yes.
No charges.
No charges.
You did a murder to an innocent man, but nobody cares about him. He was a philanderer. He was sleeping with the stewardess.
So yeah, then at the end, it's like all these people can probably get off the plane and be like, okay, yes, we hijacked it, and we're organized crime people, but also you don't throw the whole book at us because our families were under threat as well. So like, you know, we'll take the 15 years, 20 years or whatever.
No biggie.
I guess they do murder the one girl on the plane, so that they're probably more than that. Yeah, I don't know. Just at the end where this guy's like holding on to like, well, now I'm going down, you're going down with me. I was like, okay, come on, guy.
I guess because he did the murder, he killed the one chick,
maybe
probably.
Maybe so.
But yeah, I mean,
and he's just mad at Sam for throwing because he was the what's the metaphor I'm looking for?
I don't know.
He's like the,
double agent,
the stick in the gears or something. There's one like that.
He was a real stick in the mud
that I'm trying to pull. Not the stick in the mud. You're he's like the
wrench in the gears,
something like that.
Yeah, one of those sayings.
Yeah. He's getting in the way.
Who's to say?
He was the one that was mainly responsible for not making the hijacking operate as smoothly as it could have.
Didn't Amanda say like, I've got to crash the plane because they've got my daughter?
Yes, and they haven't texted her to say, okay, you're good. Like, we got what we wanted. We made our money. you can lift the plane back up and your daughter's safe.
And Sam is like, forget your daughter.
Yeah, she's dead. She's already dead.
And she's like, you're right. Forget my daughter. That's how that ends.
Yeah.
That's the end of the fucking show,
He convinces
basically.
her that they're going to kill her daughter anyway, so she might as well save everybody on the
She
plane.
just goes ahead and makes peace with that in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And this was it was a long road to get to a very bumpy ending, like both metaphorically and actually, literally. So it was just like, look, I had fun watching the show.
I did too. Like, it's very easy to sit here and kind of just like
Pick it apart
and punch a bunch of holes in it. And talk about how kind of like silly it all came together. But I enjoyed it. And Laura said last night, like when the plane finally lands and hits the ground, she almost cried because
She just thank God it's over.
Yeah, because like the tension had built so much and like it was getting so scary, and they're gonna like they nearly crashed the plane into the Capitol building or whatever, and then they land it and everybody's fine. So it was like the payoff, the relief is there. Like so they definitely did some good things, but it also felt like a show that like maybe came together very quickly.
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe.
Like not a ton of thought was put into this.
Right.
They were just like, plane gets hijacked, organized crime. Let's get Idris Elba in there. There's some complications, some loopholes, there's some
plot holes.
Some turns and twists along the way. Bam, boom, boom. Get this thing into production.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it didn't seem like they put a ton of thought into it. I mean, again, end of the day, I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed it. But this is definitely a show that when I'm done with it, I'm like, I can't wait to make fun of this. Because just even imagining the people that survived, which is, again, almost everyone, getting off the plane and, like, the press, their families being like, what happened? They would all be like, I don't really know. It was chaos. Worst hijacking ever. We tried to overthrow the plane like 3 or 4 separate times. We stabbed a guy. A dude had an epileptic seizure in the middle of the flight or whatever. He was diabetic. He needed his shots. There was just so much shit packed into this thing that was like, it was stuff that got you through each episode.
Yeah.
That kept you interested in what was occurring in the individual episodes. But then when you put it all together over the course of 7 episodes in this little mini-series, it was ridiculous. And that's why I'm like, there's no way they do this again.
Let me talk about something that I liked. Passing the water bottle back with the message on it to like get ready to shake things up.
Yeah.
I thought that felt very like, okay, this is feeling more like what could happen.
And was the message literally the marketing slogan on the side?
No, they like they somehow they Sharpie into it or something like that to like change it or to write in. Yeah.
Because to me, I was thinking to myself, this gets passed to me. I don't know what the fuck this means.
It's a special. They've because they got the Sharpie, they've got the pen.
You're right.
They change what it says. But like that was all tracking for me because it's like, okay, it's a long flight. Stuff calms down initially, and like plan 1 is to get through this. But also, as soon as stuff starts getting a little bit out of control, or you're not totally sure what's going to happen, and you have 220 people on that flight, and like maybe you're still not totally sure if all the guns are even real, you got to take control. You got to use the numbers and bop these buffies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially once you've started to figure out, like, these people are adults.
Easier said than done. But yeah, these people, they clearly are showing like a lack of like real fervor for doing this.
Right.
And somebody has to read, hopefully somebody reads that on the plane and it's like, it's go time.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this show, and I think this is why they had to get Idris Elba to make it work. There's like 10 different points where the hijackers are like, all right then, we're going to do this thing. And then Idris Elba's like, you don't have to do that, mate. Like the point where they're like, we got to kill another person. We got to send a photo to the ground. And he's like, well, you already killed a person. Go just take a picture of that dead body. And they're like, oh yeah, good call. Strange dude on the plane that we just met 20 fucking minutes ago.
Stop interjecting himself into the procession.
He just like is like, I'm gonna be part of this. I'm part of management now.
Yeah. Yes.
And then he's also working with the.
Yeah.
That was absurd.
Well, he's a negotiator. He's a professional negotiator. So this is what he's trained to do this.
Yeah, but don't you feel like Sam, like Idris Elba's character Sam on the show Hijack, is going to get somebody killed when a real plane gets hijacked? Because some moron is going to go, I'm going to Idris Elba this shit, and stand up and be like, excuse me, I have something to say, and just get popped immediately.
Yeah, I do think that is.
God, it was silly. The main hijacker, more than anyone else, deserves
Complete idiot. Yeah.
just the worst at his job.
Yeah. Very bad at his
The
job.
fact that the OCG put that man as like the number one is astonishing.
It's almost like the OCG knew that these idiots weren't going to be able to keep control of everything.
Maybe.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who the fuck knows? But it was I had a lot of questions about the rationale around some of what happened on this flight.
All right, so I'm going back to the rumors. Now, if you're telling me Idris Elba's back for season 2, and we're going to follow the OCG storyline, we're going to dive deeper into who these people are. I like the flight control lady.
Oh, yeah.
She's good. I can't think of her name right now, but I feel like I recognize her from something.
Yeah, she did look familiar.
I don't know if it's like Ted Lasso or what, but I liked her quite a bit, so I want her back. And then we follow the OCG. Maybe we do a little not like a prequel, but we figure out how this all happened, and then we kind of do maybe a dance back and forth with a little bit of flashback and a little bit of current.
Sure.
No planes though. Nothing getting hijacked until maybe the very end, and then that sets up season 3, new hijacking.
Oh shit. Shit, that lady was in Broadchurch. I don't know if you ever watched that, but
I did watch a little bit of that.
Miles is her name.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a great show if you never watched it, Broadchurch.
So you in for that?
I mean, yeah, probably. Just because they're like we've talked about ad nauseum over the past several weeks. There's definitely a place in my viewing lexicon for less high stakes, less big brained stories like this that are just kind of a fun ride. You tune in, you're getting a superstar here, an A-list superstar in Idris Elba, kind of getting to do his thing with a cool character. The story is not brilliant by any means, but it's entertaining, and there's lots of twists and turns so that each episode individually is fun. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I did think they, for a miniseries, they certainly gave us a lot of unnecessary shit. Like that lady, the Eve Miles character, she was great.
Is that the actress's name or the character?
Eve Miles is Alice Sinclair is the name of the
that's
character.
Right. Yeah, okay.
But she kind of came out of nowhere. It was like, oh, now we've got this flight control lady, and did we really need to meet Sam's ex-wife, son, Detective David, all these different characters that they brought in? It feels like they were setting up for a series, but then it's a mini-series, and you don't even know if there's going to be a season 2, and then the show ends in such a silly manner that I'm not sure there's anyone that's really clamoring for season 2. It just is what it is. It could stop right there, and we'd all move on with our lives and probably never think about it again.
That's probably right.
So, I mean, I don't know, one way or the other.
I definitely do not. If they don't make a season 2, I'm not going to wring my hands about it. I'm not going to be like,
they should have.
Shoot.
Yeah.
But if they come up with some type of compelling way to continue it, it's still starring Idris Elba, still called Hijack. It's just that we move into the loose ends of the story that they left on the table. I'm probably going to tune in. This leads me to another question, though.
Yeah.
I really cannot think of another time. And I don't necessarily believe this is fully strike related. Maybe it is because typically in this month, in these weeks that we're experiencing right now, what we would have on is all the broadcast shows would have come back by now, I believe.
Okay.
Or they'd be just about to start. Right around towards late August, early September. Is when things like Abbott Elementary or all the CBS procedurals and all that stuff would be coming back, and so there'd be buzz, there'd be new hits, etc. There'd be a lot of For Your Consideration stuff as we head into the fall, getting ready for the Emmys, yada yada. Just I don't remember a dead zone like this, and it's I've got plenty to watch next, but nothing that is it's I'm about to start making my way into my backlog, basically, of stuff that I missed over the first 8 months of the year.
No, that's where I'm at.
There's nothing that somebody's watching right now that's you got to watch this.
Yeah, and admittedly, I have a bunch of stuff in my backlog, so this isn't all that terrible for me. The problem is what becomes an issue is there's things in my backlog I need to get to Better Call Saul season 3. My wife never watched 1 and 2. Selling that or then having to sit there with her and watch 1 and 2 just to get to 3. By the time we even get to 3, then shit is coming out again.
Yeah.
Then I'm falling right back off the bus and I'm not catching up. You know what I'm saying? So there's I'm in this really problematic zone now.
Yeah.
Where I was Googling before our show. I was like, what are the hot
What are the people watching
What
right
are
now?
people watching? And it's like things on the list when I pulled up like several different ranking systems, and like Game of Thrones is doing streaming numbers again. Succession was one of the top 10 shows on one of the lists I pulled up. So stuff that's done over, that got a bunch of buzz, that other people are like, well, I guess this would be a good time to go watch Succession, because there isn't anything that is like a must watch right now. Like, it has been a long time, probably since 2020, since you and I hit a dead zone where it was like, well, now what? Now what do we cover? Like, we literally couldn't pick anything because there's nothing worthy of like an episodic breakdown on a podcast. So we're just going to do random shit week by week, which is fine. I always enjoy this part of the job too for you and I, because it's like I get messages from people that say that our more random shows are like their favorite ones, where we discuss a whole bunch of random crap. And I'm like, man, you must have loved it back in whatever year, that 2020, when you and I were just doing the most random stuff every week. But yeah, no, we have truly hit a weird spot here in terms of new programming, like new shows. There's nothing.
I will toss a couple out because I know people are doing the screaming at their radio things right now, most likely.
Yeah, sure.
Ahsoka on Disney Plus has started coming out.
Yes.
And I know that this is a big deal for Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
This was a character that made an appearance in episodes of The Mandalorian, I believe.
Yes.
And I honestly would be potentially more excited about this and be along for the ride watching it if I had not just completely tailed off season 3 of The Mandalorian, which really started hitting the bricks for me.
It says this is a continuation of the animated Star Wars Rebels and a spinoff of The Mandalorian. It's starring Rosario Dawson.
It's like
obviously.
a combo, because like the real Star Wars heads who love the animated series, like Clone Wars, and there's another one that's slipping my mind right now. But like Ahsoka I think plays a big role in those shows.
Rebels is the other one.
Rebels,
I think. Yeah.
okay, and then I think there's even one more that again is maybe not tied to it, but is a popular one. So that's going on Apple TV Plus. I am current with
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Yes, excuse me. I am watching Only Murders in the Building, which is a fun, great hang of a show, but is definitely like. It's just a very enjoyable show that people watch. It's not like hitting like peak zeitgeist in any way.
There's not a ton to talk about.
And then there's not really a ton to talk about. Winning Time is like already in like episode 5 or 6, and there's literally nothing about it. Nobody's talking about it. I don't know a single person watching it. Nobody has DM'd or said that season 2 has been good or bad or anything to me. It just exists.
I keep waiting for a piece of marketing that will at least indicate to me what the plot is for season 2, and I've gotten nothing. Nothing.
And then the other one, here's the one that's probably the buzziest to me. I've seen people talking about it on Instagram through their captions or in stories. I know multiple women watching it. I've heard it mentioned on podcasts, and it's probably the buzziest, but it is also very female-centric. It's on Amazon, and it's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. Have you heard about this?
Have I seen this?
You seen this?
I think I saw, like, I was on Amazon yesterday looking for something to watch, which I'll get to after the ad break here in a minute. But I think I saw the square, for it up there in the trending zone.
Season 2 either just released or is in the process of releasing. I'm not sure which, but it's got a ton of eyeballs for sure. It just, it's not totally for us, Ross.
More for the ladies.
It's a little bit. We're not exactly the target demo.
I thought you were going to say, and just like that. And I was going to light myself on fire.
Oh, I do. I mean, we've already talked about this, I think, off mic, that I like And Just Like That. And I like it almost because it's bad.
Yeah.
But I've not been watching season 2. I need to jump on that.
It's intentional cheese.
Yeah.
It just got renewed for its 3rd season,
yes.
too. They're going to run that one out as long as they possibly can. And I think it was on mic, because I remember saying, like, I'm not going to hate on it.
Right,
I get it. If you have a show as long-standing and successful as Sex and the City, and then you years and years and years later have an opportunity to go back, get the bag, and give all your old school fans who supported you along the way like something to dig back into, it's never going to be as good as the original, and everybody has to go into it accepting that and just enjoy it. And I get it. It's totally fine. Wife is watching it. I always walk in and catch the last few minutes, and then I laugh and make fun of it, and she's like, I hate you. But I get it. I totally understand, and no harm, no foul. But yeah, it's been slim pickings. If you're roaming around the streamers right now trying to find something that will really catch your eye, like, ooh, I can't wait to get into this. That is tough. That's tough because I spent an hour yesterday going around the streaming sites and was just like, I did watch a movie though.
Let me see. Okay, you already did Perry Mason.
Yeah.
Did you watch season 3 of Ted Lasso, or have you watched any of Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I've watched Ted Lasso. I just haven't watched the new season.
Okay. I mean, I haven't either.
I got demotivated by people were really stoked the first couple episodes, and then pretty much everyone I saw discuss it was like, this is falling off.
People really soured on it. And you did already watch the most recent season of The Great?
Yes.
Yeah,
which was great.
That's high on my list. Did you watch the most recent season of Righteous Gemstones?
No, so that needs to be on my list for sure.
That's high on my list. We already talked about Winning Time, and then you already did Beef. That was months ago now. You did Perry Mason. That was months ago. I've got 100-Foot Wave season 2 on my list.
This looks fun. It just that is so intense, man.
Yeah.
Like you got to be in a certain type of mood to go watch these guys like face death as they do these waves that would literally crush your body into oblivion. I'm interested in it, but it's like I'm not motivated to go watch it. That's the problem. Is there's nothing that's making me feel like I need to go watch it right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Which is it can be hard. It's one of those stretches right now, and I think it really does like the whole entertainment arena feels like it's got this cloud hanging over it because of the strikes.
They gotta wrap this thing up, man. They gotta figure this out.
And that's just the way this
give the people what they
works.
want.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Accept the demands. Much like the Department of Homeland British Security has to accept the demands of the OCG hijackers.
Without a whole lot of discussion either. They just fucking flat out let these dudes go. What a bizarre show Hijack was. But like I said, I enjoyed it. Anyway, I've got some more stuff. But before we move on, today's episode is also brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs makes the most comfortable and versatile shorts, pants, and bathing suits in the entire world. I've been wearing Bird Dogs for several years now. They can't be beaten. I wear them to sleep. That's how comfortable they are. I also wear them to do yard work, to work out, to go swimming. They dry faster than a bathing suit. I wear them to do everything. They fit great, they feel great, and they look great. All the different styles and colorways have funny names like Teddy Rubskins, Duffy the Vampire Slayers, Uncle Bucks, Art Fart Knockers. I have an entire drawer in my dresser occupied solely by Bird Dogs. That is how much I love them. If you want to look like money while you're working in the yard or swimming at the pool, Bird Dogs are the move, and their pants are great for the golf course or the boardroom or going out to dinner or hitting the bars. They're very versatile. Now they've got great-looking polo shirts that are just as comfortable as the shorts as well. So click on the link in the description below to go to birddogs.com/dragon and enter code DRAGON at checkout, and they will throw in a free Bird Dogs tech hat with every order. It's a beautiful Bird Dogs hat for free when you go to birddogs.com/dragon and use code DRAGON with your purchase at checkout. birddogs.com/dragon, code DRAGON. Big news on the HBO front. They officially, Barrett, canceled The Idol.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
as of yesterday.
Okay.
I do not know why.
That is big news. We should have led with that.
It took this long. If it bleeds, it leads. But yeah, from Deadline. It says some of the cast did mention the possibility of a second season during interviews, though show insiders said that creators did not come into the production process with a plan for a multi-season arc.
Okay.
And this is from HBO, from the HBO, one of their spokeswoman. It doesn't even specify, and this is what really cracked me up. It's like HBO couldn't even find somebody to fall on the sword, so they were just like, we'll give you a generic quote from HBO spokeswoman. She has no name. It just says, The Idol was one of HBO's most provocative original programs, and we're pleased by the strong audience response. After much thought and consideration, HBO, as well as the creators and producers, have decided not to move forward with a second season. We're grateful to the creators, cast, and crew for their incredible work, which feels like it's a little over the top in terms of calling it incredible work. But then again, when I go back to thinking about it, I like this little silly fucking ridiculous, over-sexualized, insanely dramatized show that we got one season of, led by Abel Tesfaye. It'll always hold a funny little place in my heart, Barrett. But I am glad they've decided to let it stop right there.
Yeah, I feel that.
All
I feel
things
that.
considered.
I think this is the right decision, and frankly, I'm mostly just glad that I don't have to think about what on earth they're going to try to do for season 2.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been good.
But Sam Levinson, it's really in a tough spot as of late.
Yeah,
Just
dude.
like I don't think Euphoria is going to make it back, and now The Idol is canceled. So, what's next for him? You know,
That's a very good question.
Whose breasts will he expose next on screen?
I don't even know if we touched on the passing of Angus Cloud, but it did feel like that probably did it for Euphoria.
Combined with the strikes,
That
then
feels like
that on top of it, that felt like potential. Did you just quick related tangent? Did you know that there is a new? Well, we mentioned this on maybe on Patreon a little bit. But there is a new Hunger Games film releasing in November, I believe.
Is it still gonna release? It's not something that's getting pushed back.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I did not know that until you brought it up.
Yeah, I think it's I'm pretty sure it's a prequel. It stars Peter Dinklage, among others.
Okay.
And it also has Hunter Schafer in it. In a prominent role.
The Ballad of Songbirds.
The Ballad of Songbirds, yes. And I don't know. I mean, obviously,
And snakes.
Songbirds and snakes. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I thought we were missing. Who's the Songbirds? But who else?
Yeah.
Now obviously it's the Hunger Games, so maybe Hunter Schafer doesn't even make it out of the first movie. My point is, all of these people, from Hunter Schafer to Sydney Sweeney to Zendaya to Alexa Demi, like literally everybody involved, has a shitload of other stuff going on and are all becoming big stars.
Oh yeah.
And like if they can't lock in a schedule for Euphoria season 3, I think the moment's just going to pass.
Which may just be the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, this happens sometimes. I just, the way, what was it, season 2 ended? I mean, they had really elevated the Fezco storyline.
Yeah.
And for him to be gone, I just don't see a way forward for the plot in general. We've kind of done a lot of what we can with these other characters, with Rue and Cassie and Jules and whatnot. So, I would be just fine if they chose to walk away. I think that was an incredible little 2 seasons they put together there, plus those 2 episodes in between during the COVID. Look, some bad luck, some bad fortune around that programming in general because of the way COVID unfolded, right? That caused a lot of delay and pushback and whatnot too, and then you lose a cast member in a tragedy like that. It's tough to recover from. But yes, I mean, you're not wrong. This guy went from one of the hottest creators, Sam Levinson, in Hollywood, to like kind of dropping a weird dud in the form of The Idol, and then kind of, the wheels falling off of Euphoria as well. I don't know. I certainly look forward to seeing what he does next, because the 2 things he's done so far, I was extremely interested in, and I think one of them is like kind of an all-time classic, Euphoria. I just don't know where you put The Idol in comparison. And I think last week when you and I spoke, the news had yet to be officially released, but Dune Part 2 has been officially pushed back. I think it was right after we finished recording even. The Hollywood Reporter said, in a major change to the November box office calendar, Denis Villeneuve's highly anticipated Dune Part 2 has been pushed to next year amid the ongoing actor strike, which prevents stars from promoting their projects. And it sounds like your read on this was correct. I was saying, like, I don't think they need the stars to go and do their promotional tour. It sounds like they're very much counting on that being part of the way they get worldwide box office. So that makes sense. And the more I read about it, you've got 2 really young stars in Timothée Chalamet and in Zendaya, that those are the people that are going to be pulling in the younger generation, the generation younger than you and I. And there's a ton of new talent coming into this second film. I think you mentioned the dude who played Elvis.
Yeah, Austin Butler.
Is going to be in there, hopefully not doing that accent. Christopher Walken is in movie number 2 as well. It sounds like we're going to get March 2024 is when we can expect to see that one, which is just It's just brutal because it's like a continuation of this dry spell
really
here.
tough.
Yeah. No, that would have been a fun podcast that we'll have to wait till next year to do. So the show first of all, I watched 2 movies since we last met. One of them was Asteroid City.
Okay.
The latest Wes Anderson.
That's
streaming
on Prime,
on Peacock.
Right? Or Peacock.
Yeah. The cast of this film is utterly insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point I'm sitting there wondering, like, so will anybody just go do a Wes Anderson at this point?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like he can just make the call and it's not a budget situation because it's like 30 A-listers. Like
they are not getting paid what they get for other movies.
yeah, I had to figure. Otherwise, this is $1 billion budget.
Right.
It's crazy how many people keep popping up on screen. It was good fun. I passed out about 45 minutes in, so I'll have to get back to you on what I think of it on the whole.
Okay.
And then yesterday when I was scrolling, I was like, there's got to be something. There's got to be some movie that catches my eye that I haven't seen. This Ethan Hawke horror movie has been, they keep throwing it at me. They're like
Black Phone or
the
something?
Black Phone. They're like, you like this dumb shit. You'll love this, you idiot. And I finally was like, screw it. I'll watch it. It wasn't good. I don't know why he is drawn to these like weird horror movies, Ethan Hawke. I feel like he does a lot of them. I can't name one memorable role since Training Day that the dude has taken on. It's like mostly, this was the easiest shoot of his whole freaking life, this movie.
Yeah, he has done quite a bit of notable stuff. There was a movie that I believe was Oscar nominated called First Reformed. And then he was in a Disney Plus Marvel show with Oscar Isaac called Moon Knight as the villain.
Okay.
And he was in a very kind of like low-key but well-renowned Showtime miniseries called something about a bird. Something bird. It's like a period piece where he may have been nominated for an Emmy for that one. So he's out there doing interesting stuff, but I think he's kind of, I'm not sure if he was the one that kind of originated this quote, but he's like a one for me, one for you guy.
He's one of those guys.
And I think his paycheck is typically he just doesn't mind taking the paycheck role for like horror films.
Yeah. No, clearly, if you watch this one. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was far from good and really not well acted at different points. It's reliant on child actors, too. And they were the best in the movie. Like, the children were better than some of the adults. Some random faces pop up, but yeah, tough for me to recommend The Black Phone for anybody that's into horror. But yeah, so a large point of today's episode is we're looking for recommendations. If y'all have stuff that you've watched and loved, holler at Barrett and I on social media. At WRBOLEN is my tag on Twitter and Instagram, which are the 2 places you can mainly find me actively. And Barrett is at Barrett Dudley, BarrettDudley on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. If you've watched a movie that you know or think we haven't caught, holler at us with it if it's good enough, if you think it was worth watching, if you liked it, if you enjoyed it. And I think, and another random announcement, Our Flag Means Death Season 2, I think, was officially announced. If I'm not mistaken, the release date is October 2023, so this year, which will obviously be available on Max, and I thought was good fun. If you never watched that, I'll recommend it again. Our Flag Means Death on Max. Fun stuff with pirates. And yeah, that's kind of everything I had for today. You know what? I'll say one more thing about you. You mentioned Osako. What is it?
Oh, geez, Ross, you've been on
Ahsoka?
I'm taking a moment now. I got to make some corrections here. Clam fam corrections.
Yeah,
because that was 3, and that's the limit. Denis Villeneuve is the director.
Damn.
Zendaya, not Zendaya. We've been corrected on that one before.
Yeah, that's never changing for me, though.
And Ahsoka. Yeah.
What's the Dune director's name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
French. Yeah.
Not Villanueva?
No.
Damn. Denis Villeneuve. I'm going to call him Danny now. Okay. Ahsoka is the new Star Wars show. The reason I can't bring myself to jump into any more of these is I always get the impression that if I haven't seen...
Yes, because that has been the Marvel Star Wars, like, playbook.
And is that the case?
You have to watch everything or you won't. Like, that's that. I don't know.
I read that one line. It was like, it's a continuation of the animated Star Wars Rebels and a spinoff of The Mandalorian. And I was like, and I'm out.
I think they probably make it so that no, a newcomer can come in and understand what they're doing and who she is and like what the main story is. But there will also be tons of things that you're not catching the reference to, or names thrown out and you're like, I don't know who that is, or like, you know, the little callbacks, and like, yeah, there'll be a bunch of that for sure.
Okay.
So
Speed 2 is
I don't know. None of the Star Wars stuff has been good. So that's outside of Andor. So it's like
Andor was great.
And the first couple of seasons of Mando. So that's what I'm looking for too, is like somebody to say, hey, Ahsoka's actually pretty good, and then maybe I'll give it a shot. But yeah.
I think Speed 2, it's a cruise ship that's stolen.
No, it cannot be
I swear to
cruise
God.
ship?
It's a Caribbean cruise. I'm serious. They hack into the computer system of the cruise and hijack it.
The files are in the cruise ship.
They are. Ethan Hawke is pronounced Hawke, right? It's not Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, yeah.
All right, I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Before we leave.
It's yeah.
You know?
It's okay.
If you're looking for more OCC, we do an exclusive ad-free episode every week driven by hotline calls from our supporters on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles. Subscribe on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles for as little as $5 a month to support our show and enjoy so much more exclusive OCC content ad-free. When you join, you immediately gain access to our entire backlog of episodes, including all of our bonus coverage of Silo, Succession, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon, The White Lotus, and of course, our entire companion podcast for HBO's classic crime drama, The Sopranos, friendly to both first-timers and rewatchers. Patreon.com/oystersclamscockles. I recently went in and reorganized everything so that it should be a lot easier for you people to find what you are looking for in there if you're trying to digest content from the backlog like the Sopranos companion podcast. I just added the tags. There's only like 10 of them. They're very simple. It should be pretty straightforward. And as I said last week, if you're in there and you're like, well, I'm on the Sopranos pod, but I'm doing season 2 now, just use the search bar, The Sopranos S2. As you see, all of the episodes are titled, season 1 is indicated by S1, E11 for episode 11. So if you get to season 2, just use the search bar, The Sopranos S2, and all of season 2 will populate right there for you to make it a little bit easier so you don't have so much to scroll through. Again, patreon.com/oystersclamscockles to support OCC and get even more ad-free. We'd appreciate it if you would support our sponsors by using our dedicated URLs and codes. That is how we pay the piper here at Oysters, Clams, and Cockles outside of our supporters on Patreon. Today we had birddogs.com/dragon, code DRAGON for that free Bird Dogs tech hat with your order. If you're an F1 fan, check out Bolin Media's premier F1 programming from Formula Bone at youtube.com/@FormulaBone and @FormulaBone on all social media. For more from me, Ross Bolin, listen to the Ross Bolin podcast wherever podcasts are played, or watch on youtube.com/@TheRossBolin podcast. In my most recent episode, I interviewed writer, stand-up comedian, and social media influencer Jared Freed about his new Netflix comedy stand-up special available now. Check out the Ross Bolin podcast wherever you get your OCC. For more from Barrett and I, follow Mr. Dudley at Barrett Dudley on Twitter and Instagram and Threads. Follow me at WR Bolin. Go to bolinmedia.com/shop to grab yourself some merch. Thank you again for being here today. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time,
Entering Glizzy Overdrive.
say cheese.